Welcome to the Extraordinary Everyday Podcast, where women come to be inspired and motivated to become the best version of themselves and elevate the quality of their everyday. Now, here's your host, certified life coach, Wendy Johnson.
Hello, beautiful friends. Welcome back. I'm excited about today's episode. We're diving into a topic that I think is just as important, if not more important, than clearing out the physical clutter in your lives. We're talking about decluttering our minds and emotions, letting go of limiting beliefs, toxic relationships, and commitments that no longer serve us. If you've ever cleaned out a closet or a junk drawer, you know how freeing it feels to remove the things that take up space but don't add value to your life. But what about the mental clutter? The thoughts, beliefs, and emotional baggage we hold on to that keeps us stuck. Today, we're going to explore what emotional and mental clutter really is, why we hold on to it, and most importantly, how to clear it out so we can live with more peace, clarity, and purpose. So take a deep breath, get comfortable, and let's dive in. Let's start by defining what emotional and mental clutter actually is. Just like physical clutter, these things take up space in our minds and hearts. They might not be visible, but they weigh us down all the same. Examples of emotional and mental clutter include limiting beliefs, thoughts like, I'm not good enough, I'll never be successful, I'll never get a job, or I have to do it all on my own. Also, toxic relationships, connections that drain our energy, whether it's a friendship, a romantic partner, or even a family member. And overcommitment, saying yes to too many things out of guilt or obligation, leaving no room for what truly matters. Think about your life right now. What thoughts, relationships, or commitments might be taking up space that could be cleared out? If these things are weighing us down, why do we keep them? Let me give you a few common reasons. Number one, comfort and familiarity. Even when something is unhealthy, it can feel safer to stick with what we know. Two, fear of change. Letting go means stepping into the unknown, and that can be scary. And three, guilt and obligation. We often feel responsible for maintaining relationships or commitments, even if they no longer serve us. And last, four, identity attachment. Sometimes our limiting beliefs become part of who we think we are. I'm just not a confident person, or I've always been a people pleaser, are examples of identity-based clutter. But here's the truth. Just because something feels familiar doesn't mean it's good for us. And just because we believe something for a long time doesn't mean it's true. Let's start with mental clutter, those limiting beliefs that hold us back. The first step is to identify the belief. Ask yourself, what's a belief I've been carrying that keeps me from moving forward? Maybe it's I'm not smart enough to change careers, or I have to be perfect to be loved. Let me give you an example. Sarah always believed she wasn't a math person, which stopped her from pursuing a career in data analysis. When she challenged this belief, she realized she could learn because there were other things she liked about this job. And step two is to challenge it. Where did this belief come from? Is it actually true? Or is it just a story you've been telling yourself? Here's an example. Darcy believed she wasn't good enough to run her own business. But when she listed the skills and experience she actually had, she saw she was more capable than she thought. And step 3, replace it with a new empowering belief. Once you found this limiting belief, you challenge it, and then you replace it. Instead of, I'm not smart enough, try, I'm capable of learning and growing. Instead of, I have to be perfect, try on, I am worthy just as I am, imperfect. Rewriting these beliefs takes practice, but the more we challenge them, the more space we create for new possibilities. Now let's talk about emotional clutter, specifically relationships that drain us. How do you know if a relationship is toxic or no longer serving you? Here are a few signs. You feel exhausted or anxious after spending time with this person. The relationship is one-sided. You're always giving and they're always taking. They discourage your growth rather than support it. Here's an example. Lisa had a friend who constantly criticized her decisions and made her feel inadequate. When she set boundaries, she felt lighter and more confident. Here's how to let go. Acknowledge what's not working. Be honest with yourself about how this relationship makes you feel. You have to set boundaries. Not all relationships need to end, but some need stronger boundaries. For example, if a friend constantly drains you with negativity, limit how much time you spend with them. I had a friendship when my son was younger in his grade school years, and she was constantly calling me on Sunday mornings when I had personal time with my family and we were making breakfast, or immediately after I was walking my son home from school, the phone would ring and she wanted to talk to me, but I needed to help my son out. And I set boundaries. It was hard. There was a little bit of friction for a while, but then she understood that I couldn't talk to her all the time. And the third step to letting go is to release the guilt. It's okay to let go of relationships that are unhealthy. You're not responsible for carrying people who don't respect your energy. As difficult as it is to release toxic relationships, doing so creates space for healthy, supportive connections. Do you have a relationship that is toxic or a relationship where you need to set stronger boundaries? Finally, let's talk about one of the biggest forms of life clutter, saying yes to too much. Ask yourself, what commitments in my life feel heavy and draining? Which ones align with my values? And which ones do I do out of guilt? Over the years, I've been committed to different organizations, involved in my son's sports activities, scouting activities, and his school. I knew when I felt like I was being asked to do way too much once I got involved. I volunteered while it felt good and while I was excited about it. But the moment it began to feel heavy and draining, I knew it was time for me to step away and move on to something else. I had a client who had volunteered for multiple committees, leaving her no time for her family. When she stepped back from a couple of them, she finally felt more present and fulfilled, and her family was happier. Now let's talk about how to simplify your commitments. First, do a commitment audit. Write down everything you're committed to: work, social, family, volunteer roles. Highlight what truly matters. 2, say no without guilt. It's okay to step back. You can say, I appreciate the opportunity, but I can't commit to this right now. And the third step, make space for what matters. Every time you say no to something misaligned, you say yes to something better in the future. Also, you're saying yes to your peace, your time, and your well-being. Decluttering your mind and emotions is just as freeing as decluttering your home. When you release what no longer serves you, whether it's a belief, a relationship, or an obligation, you create space for peace, clarity, and growth. Here's your challenge for this week. Identify one limiting belief, one relationship, or one commitment that no longer serves you. Write it down. Decide how you can begin to release it, whether it's by reframing a thought, setting a boundary, or saying no. But taking action now is the most important step. And as always, I would love to hear your thoughts. Share your decluttering journey with me over on Instagram or inside my More You membership. Thank you so much for joining me, friends. If you found today's episode helpful, please share it with a friend or leave a review. It truly helps spread the message. Until next time, remember, you have the power to create space for the life you truly want. Have a beautiful week, everybody. Until next time, take care.
Hey, if you enjoy listening to this podcast, you have to come check out More You, my community of like-minded women. We show up to create the highest version of ourselves and elevate the quality of our everyday along the way. Head over to ontracklifecoaching.com/join. That's ontraclifecoaching.com/join. I'd love to see you in there. And if you haven't grabbed your copy of the Mindset Makeover, head over to ontracklifecoaching.com/makeover and get a copy that teaches and inspires you to show up as your most extraordinary self.